I'm Theo.
And I'm Juliet.
And this is Apologies Accepted.
We offer an entertaining look at some of the big issues in history by examining public apologies of the famous and infamous.
We're looking at politicians, serial killers, actors, and you.
Send us a public apology you would like to make, and we'll read it on the air and give you a chance to redeem yourself, or just get some guilt off your shoulders.
We're here for you. Once a week, maybe more if you're really, really sorry. Hi, everybody.
This is Apologies Accepted,
the podcast.
And I'm not Theo.
And I'm not Juliet.
And welcome back, everybody, from the Thanksgiving holiday. So I want to know what's shaking turkey bacon.
What's shaking is Christmas. Hi, Thanksgiving? Never heard of it. Christmas. So Thanksgiving was great. Our friend Allison came to visit us from Cape Town. I'd mentioned in the last show that she was up. And so she got to experience a real Thanksgiving. She's had two previously, but I've decided those were fake.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it was a nice day. What's not to love about Thanksgiving? And then I received special permission because Allison was in town to put up the Christmas tree early. And I know you have been denied this great privilege and pleasure until December 1st.
That's right.
I love how you're like, until December 1st.
My tree is scheduled to arrive on December 1st, and we're going to throw everything on it as soon as it gets here.
As soon as it gets there. So I dragged Allison around while I did the shopping for the perfect tree. We got a real tree this year because I threw away the artificial one because it was looking real raggedy. She helped me decorate it. James had nothing to do with it whatsoever. For him, this is like, I don't even know what it's like. It's like the opposite of joy. And I don't know what that feels like when it's around Christmas time. I don't know either.
Christmas is the best.
It's just joy. So so that was cool. And then I did it because I bought James a photo. I had this photograph that he loves blown up real big. Mm-hmm. It's 7 feet by 5. It was huge. Supposed to be 5 by 3. But somebody didn't move the decimal when he converted from metric to imperial. And so, yeah, I've got this great big giant fucking picture now. And it's fine. I like it. It looks good. It's nice. But, man, it's big. And so I gave it to him way before Christmas because there was no way to hide it from him. And also the other thing is that Allison is one of his favorite people in the world. She doesn't listen to the show, so I'm not saying this for her, right? And also, she owes me money. So I'm totally kidding about the money. I stole it from her. She's an important person in his heart, right? And they've been in contact for over many, many years, but not once a year, maybe, right?
Yeah.
So I really wanted, but she's a special person to him. And so I was very excited for her to be here. So that way, when he gets the picture, she's a part of that memory. And then when he tells people about I got the photo, he can always remember that I made Allison carry a 7-foot photo into the house. So I'll say that's what's shaking bacon. If it's not Christmas, I can't be bothered with it right now. And it's
I hear you.
November 26th world, so it's not even time yet.
It's not really that close to Christmas.
No.
I did hear, while I was going to jury duty, I'm taking Lyft to jury, or Uber, whatever, to jury duty every day because parking is a nightmare. And I heard the radio station in town playing Christmas music, and it wasn't even Thanksgiving yet. And they were playing all Christmas music all the time. It was nuts.
And it's a public station?
Yeah, it's like KOIT or something. So I think it was
Stop.
KOIT.
Their call letters are KOAT?
KOIT.
Oh, I was like, Coat? That's Coit. Coit's maybe arguably worse. Yeah. Coat, we cover you.
We cover the Bay Area. So anyway, so I was surprised that was going on so early in the year. And even I think it's a little early to start celebrating Christmas before Thanksgiving. But I think once Thanksgiving is over, it should be
fair game.
Fair game. But
what else are you going to do?
What else are you going to do? Especially when you don't have a job other than decorate the house. But I did sneak out some throws and some pillows and things like that. So,
cool.
so we're covered. Like, we're covered. Yeah, and that's all that's going on with me. Just the jury duty, which I'm not on the jury yet officially, but they're still questioning people, so I still have to sit there and listen to all the questions.
And they're going to pick you. It's going to happen.
I know. It's just as well. I mean, I do have to serve on a jury at some point. You know, it's my civic duty, so I might as well do it while I'm not working.
Haven't you done it already, though?
I did it once, but I think you have to do it more than once.
No. Sorry.
Yeah.
I did it once.
I'll be really mad if I have to do it again next year.
Well, I mean,
mad.
James got called for jury duty. I've avoided it. Somehow they're not calling me, but they probably also have we are in Texas, so they've got commie, pinko, lefty on my profile, and so they know he's just going to set the criminals free.
Yeah. Oh, I wish I could tell you about this case. It's so interesting. And but they're not. The point I was going to make is they're not they don't care if you're. I mean, not because you're in San Francisco, but they don't care if you're a commie, pinko, whatever. That people have come out and said, I really object to this particular fact of the case is really disturbing to me, and the judge is just like, well, if I instructed you to be unbiased, could you be unbiased? And they're all like, I guess so. So it's like
the
people aren't getting away with anything.
Your Honor. I wish I could tell you that yes.
Yeah.
However, I am an honest person, so I have to let you know that Jesus Christ compels my heart to send this man straight to hell. Yeah, you're out.
I mean, totally. Somebody could say that, and the rest of us would be like, all right. But the judge is not having any of it. So
they're smart. They see it coming a mile away.
I know. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe this week I'll find out if I'm actually going to be on the jury. They'll question everybody and settle down with the 20 people that they want, or the 12 plus 2 alternates, or however they're going to do it this time. I don't know. So is it always 12 people plus 2 alternates, or do they have different numbers of alternates for different trials?
And it depends on the trial, right? So a really great, big, huge, giant thing that they know is going to be forever. There are going to be a couple of extra alternates. Typically, it's 12 plus 2. We're supposed to be done
by December 20th, so it's not going to be a big deal. But I mean, it's not going to be. They don't expect there to be any publicity around it. Which, after hearing the facts of the case, I'm like, how could there not be any publicity around this? But I'm not allowed to talk about it or think about it or make any decisions.
Does it involve murder?
I can't tell you anything about it.
Does it involve drugs? Ooh, was it a sexy nurse who killed an old man and then, they were having a secret lesbian affair with his wife, and that's it.
Yeah.
Hurrah.
I know. So anyway, if I do get put on this jury, it'll at least be interesting. But I prefer not to, because I prefer to look for work during my day hours and not have to come back home and start looking for work. And the things this company, this coaching company is having me do to look for work is insane. Like, I'm supposed to reach out to all of my LinkedIn contacts and be like, hey, I'm looking for work. Do you know of anything? And I'm supposed to be going around making new contacts and making friends here and there and all this bullshit. There's no way I'm going to do any of that. There's no way.
Looking for work becomes the job.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, you should spend 30 hours a week on this. 30 hours a week.
And
man.
Yeah. No, work comes looking for me.
Exactly.
That's how this works.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Totally. That's how it's always worked in the past. I don't know why things are so weird now when I'm looking for work.
I got nothing.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, that's my life, and I had a good Thanksgiving. Everything was cool. I'm glad that I have enough money to make it through the next few months without working. So, because it looks like it's going to be longer than just a couple weeks without a job. So, things are okay.
Well, you never know. But I mean, this is the season where they're not hiring. This is the season that
January,
people are.
Hopefully, things will pick up.
Yeah.
Hopefully. So either that or I'm going to go back to Sweden or something. So Heather and I want to go to Copenhagen next. So maybe in January we'll go to Copenhagen, depending on our schedules and what's going on. But it'll be nice and cold in January.
It will.
We'll see.
And it'll be just like Stockholm and the other place. Norway?
Norway, Oslo. Yeah, I liked both of those places very much. So I think I like Copenhagen as well.
You'll like Copenhagen.
So anyway, let's
The
talk
same thing.
about the story this week. So
Sure.
we have a story about this dude whose name is Matt Rife. And he was born in 1995. Can you believe that a baby is able to get up to all this kind of crap?
I was surprised that he was 28 years old. I did watch the Netflix special because I was like, all right, let's watch it.
Oh, I didn't.
You don't
cross
need
my
to.
mind to watch it.
I did. I've got
like,
lots
I
of
know what this
notes
is gonna be.
for
Okay.
him, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was it wasn't good. And so, well, carry on before I
Okay.
start saying on TikTok
And
he does
said
this.
blah, blah, blah.
Let's let
Yeah.
people know who he is. Gen Z will know who he is. Anybody that watches TikTok will know who he is. But who is he? What's up?
He is an American comedian and paranormal investigator.
Shut up. I did not know that second part. Are you lying to me?
No, I'm not lying to you. He was on, I'm kind of exaggerating, but he was on a show about paranormal investigating where he was a paranormal investigator. So I had to put that in there. So he became famous not for his paranormal investigating, but for his crowd work initially. And because of that, he built up a fan base of about 18 million people. And that was partly credit to his self-produced TV specials and his TikTok videos. I think largely TikTok videos built up his initial fan base. And he's on a world tour now, which is called Problematic. That's problematic for Mad Rife. And his tour is sold out through October 2024. The name of his tour, Problematic, pretty much tells you how he's going about trying to build an audience.
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Even back in 2015, when he was on an episode of a game show I've never heard of course, called Wild 'N Out with Zendaya. Is it Zendaya or Zendaya? I think it's Zendaya.
I have no earthly idea.
I think it's Zendaya.
Cool.
I should have looked it up, but I'm pretty sure it's Zendaya. Sorry, people, we're ignorant, we're old. Anyway, even back in 2015 when he was on the show with Zendaya, he showed poor taste and insensitivity. So on the show, the contestants were broken up into two teams, and one person from each team had to hold water in their mouths while members of the other team tried to make them laugh. And one of his jokes to make Zendaya laugh was, "Look, you're mixed, I want to be black, let's make a lifestyle movie." She kind of smiled, but she didn't laugh. And then he took her by the chin, saying, "Spit that water out so I can get your number, please." And her teammates jumped up and told Matt not to touch her. And he goes, "I didn't touch her." And she sort of shakes her finger in his face. But he's not very smart, I'll say.
Yeah, that's kind of
You don't grab people.
lots of thoughts. But he's essentially right now kind of a frat bro with a heart. Sorta.
Really?
Well, in the special, I've watched a lot of his videos on TikTok, and
Oh, really?
he feels very empathetic.
He does?
Yes.
I didn't watch any of them. That's interesting. So yeah, he appeals. So he said that he wanted his new special, which is called Natural Selection, and which was released on the 15th of November, to appeal to both men and women, since his social media videos had been popular with a largely female audience.
Yes.
So he doesn't like that, because God forbid the lesser sex should be interested in your work.
So I don't know that this is his issue, but this is what I believe his issue is. I had listened to an interview with him on a show that's called Canceled by some YouTuber girl who's very pretty and very blonde, and it's her show.
Okay.
And this is unfair, and I know when you talk and you make mistakes. I have a microphone in front of me. I say stupid stuff all the time, right? He's on this show. He's talking with this blonde woman who I don't know, but apparently she was very famous on YouTube and made a mistake and sort of got canceled. And so her whole shtick in her podcast is talking about cancel culture. And he was a guest on the show, and he was talking about how he, doesn't believe in cancel culture, doesn't buy into cancel culture. And he was talking about his glow up. I love that term.
Yeah.
Glow up, right? And apparently he's very attractive now, but apparently he did not start off life that way, and it didn't happen
Right.
until he was like in his 20s.
20s, yeah.
Where he still is.
Yeah.
So kind of not ugly guy. I didn't look at photos of him, but from what I understand, not that attractive, but became attractive. So the attractiveness is new to him. And he said in the interview that his show, he has a lot of female fans, and I'll say, says that he is pro-woman, right? And I don't get a vibe from him in the interview or in his TikTok videos that he is anti-woman or misogynistic. I have the opposite feeling about him, right? Which I think is why he has such a large female fan base. But he's trying to grow a show, and in comedy, you got to get the guys. That's the conventional belief. And I'll say, having watched his Netflix special, in my academic opinion, where he's gone wrong is he skewed too hard to the guys. And it was not an enjoyable show. I think I can never say her first name, Elysia Schlesinger. She does Elder Millennial. That's a stand-up show. I'm going to now just Google her. She does a great job.
Eliza?
Thank you. Yes, Eliza Schlesinger.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, she does a great job in talking about the battle of the sexes and talking about gender and things like that. I don't know the guys can necessarily do that. The girls always ended up being the butt of Matt Rife's jokes, and I don't think that was where his head is really at. But I think it's where he thinks the audience is, where the mainstream audience is.
Well, he did say, so I don't know, I didn't see any of his TikTok videos, so I probably shouldn't even speculate, but he did say one of the biggest misconceptions of things I get ridiculed online for is people are like, oh, he only has a female fan base. In the beginning, yes, because I did blow up on TikTok, which is very female dominant, so I get that perspective. But when you come to the shows, I mean, it's 50-50. It's couples coming out. It's groups of dudes who are coming. And that's one thing I wanted to tackle in this special, was showing people that, like, despite what you think about me online, I don't pander my career to women. And I'm like, what? Why would it be so bad if he did? I mean, maybe because, like you said, you need both genders to be successful. I don't know. He said also, I would argue this special is way more for guys. I wanted to make this special for everybody. I pride myself on making my comedy for everybody. It's not for a specific demographic. I think if people would just give it the chance without going into it and being like, oh, only girls like him, or people only like his face. If you give it an opportunity, I think you'd like it. So, okay, so maybe you're right. Maybe he's trying to appeal to everyone.
Well, women are part of everyone, right? He's trying to
part of everyone.
It's hard to believe, America, but it is true. I mean, I know. It just for me, the special is not my kind of humor.
Right.
But I do say all kinds of humor. It's a big world. Yep, everybody's got a thing. So cool. I don't fault him for that. And we're sort of now stumbling up to what his apology was. So we'll take it from there.
First, though, let's talk about the problem with his special. So the big issue with what happened in his special was that he made a domestic violence joke. So he tells a story about being in a, quote, ratchet Baltimore restaurant with a friend and noticed that the female server had a black eye. And they wonder why the restaurant wouldn't have the server work in the back so the customers wouldn't see her black eye. And he jokes, yeah, but I feel like if she could cook, she wouldn't have that black eye.
Which I'm going to say is a joke, right? And so I get that. And in the special, he says, like, I'm just checking you guys out. I'm testing the waters, right? Dipping
to see if you're fun or not, he said.
Right. To see how far I can go.
Right.
And yes, right? And that joke, I will say, is not really indicative of all the humor in the show, but there were parts of the show where the humor skewed that way. And for me, it's just not, I get it. It is kind of funny as a joke, right? And what's humorous about it is the shock value. Like, oh my God, that's
There
awful.
is a shock value to that. Yeah. But you kind of have to build up a relationship with your audience before you start making jokes like that, so they know where you're coming from. Don't you have to
And see, so what do I know about Matt Rife, right? I don't know very much. But on the TikTok,
on the TikTok,
how fucking million years old am I? What I was going to say was on the TikTok videos, but I swallowed and it came out on the TikTok. So, world, I know it's not the TikTok, although that would be cute because it'd be TTT and then, but whatever. So, on TikTok, he is in small comedy clubs and he's on a stage and he's like at the Laugh Factory or the Comedy Store and he's in a room and those hold, 50 people, maybe 75. And those are more intimate spaces and the audience does know him, right?
Right, because they've seen his TikToks. And
exactly. And that's why they're there.
Right.
Right. And so that's the problem. He's released these TikToks videos where he is doing crowd work, which in comedy is what we call talking to people in the audience. And he's really funny. He's great. I love his crowd work. He's so good. And he can do the thing that is hard to do, right? He can talk to people of different races and make racial comments that are funny and somehow inclusive. Like he's in on it. He knows it's inappropriate to say this thing and he's letting you know that but he's also going to say it, right? And it's okay. He gets a pass. And he's not getting a pass because he's cute. He's getting a pass because you can tell he's saying it because that's the shocking thing to say, not because that's what in his head or heart, right? If anything, the opposite. So therefore he's allowed to say it, if you will. That's kind of the logic that's set up. It's not my opinion.
Isn't that the easy way out though, to base your humor on things like that, things that are just shocking or things that are just
it's incredibly easy. Yeah, totally. I've built no career off of it. But so he does, and he does. So he's sent these videos out to the world, right, where he's doing the crowd work, and now he has audiences that show up, and that's what they think the show is. They think he's just going to talk to everybody in the audience, but he's actually got a routine. He's got a show. He's got a script. He's got stories he's going to tell, right? He's not there for the audience to shout out at him and be like, oh, say something funny about me. And so that's what's happening, and he's finding it to be annoying.
I see.
What I think has happened is he has a relationship with a particular audience. His Netflix special was geared towards that audience. Not everybody is a member of that audience, right? And so that's, I think, the issue. It's that this was really his big introduction to the world / mainstream. And there's more people than just his fans on TikTok. So
you're saying that I understand that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand that in the show he has dick jokes and jokes about fat people and gay people and the mentally ill, and then he's got jokes about airline travel, and he uses a black scent. So all of that you're saying is he was expecting people to be familiar with him and understand where he was coming from, and that's not quite where it landed.
That's not quite where it landed. And so I will also say that the jokes about the people who are special needs, right, were surprising to me. Not something I actually expected to hear from him, right? I expected his humor to be a little more on the self-deprecating scale as opposed to the offensive scale. And so were they jokes at the expense of special needs people? No, they were not. However, were they jokes that were set up to make people think about their discomfort around people with special needs and then laugh at that discomfort? Kind of, yes, that was the intention. But it wasn't played well, right? So you had a line in there about like older women giving birth and how your odds of having a child who's first in the lunchroom are dramatically increased, right? And that line of first in the lunchroom gets to, I don't know that they still do this, but certainly when I went to school, children with special needs were separated from the mainstream population or general population. And so they would go to lunch first. And so that was the joke, right? Without saying Down syndrome or naming a specific, right? It's just that your child will be first in the lunchroom. And, funny, okay, fine, right? I could easily argue why that's funny. Did I turn the TV set off? No, because we have the show and I wanted to know, like, all right, what's up? But would I have on my own without this show? Yeah.
Yeah.
If I want to watch a cute guy, there's plenty of cute guys out there. If I want to watch a squirrel, there's plenty of squirrels out there. I don't have to watch the squirrel that's saying stupid stuff. And so, will the show hurt his career? No. Will it help his career? If you want to play, want to play to the MAGA crowds, this is the way to go.
Exactly.
Keep going, right?
Exactly.
And that's what it is. In my opinion, he is feeling a little too much like the icon of ladyhood. And so he wants to let the college frat guys know, I like fucking too.
Yeah, really. So just before all of this happened, he, in an interview with Variety, said that he doesn't really adhere to this whole sensitivity in the comedy world, that you can't say anything anymore. And he said that was bullshit. You can say whatever you want. Now you have to prepare for repercussions, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to how do you sleep at night. So kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other there. I'm not sure where he's coming from. I'm sure he's so young, though. So I give him a little bit of bit of leeway for that. But he's still a young dude.
Dangerous
the other thing he said that I thought was funny was that stand-up isn't about being funny. So I just thought was an interesting side note. Since he got... Were you going to say something?
Oh, no, I'd like to know more about that. Stand-up isn't about being funny. I mean, on many levels,
kind of a side comment, he said.
True.
I mean, stand-up is only about being funny.
Maybe what he means is stand-up isn't only about being funny, right? It's also about being vulnerable. It's about being defensive. It's about... I don't know, because it's an interesting comment. It's an interesting comment.
Yeah. So maybe he's an interesting guy. I don't know. But in response to negative feedback about his domestic violence joke on his special and some of the other things he said, he posted on Instagram. So we're getting into the apology now. If you've ever been offended by a joke I've told, here's a link to my official apology. And he wrote that alongside a link that said tap to solve the issue. And when you clicked on the link, it goes to a website that offers safety helmets for people with disabilities. Now, I get where he's coming from.
Yeah.
I think it was a poor choice.
There were other ways to deal with this. There were other websites that... Okay, so what do I like about this? I like that he doubled down and he didn't apologize, because in comedy... Don't apologize. That's a mistake that Kathy Griffin made with the whole Trump head thing. She did a tearful apology, and I get it. It was overwhelming. It was Trump. It was all the things, right? I understand why she did it as a human being. However, not the thing to have done. I think Joan Rivers would have slapped that camera out of her hand and just said, write it out. Yep. You said it. You did it. Funny. You let it go. Enjoy the press, right?
Right.
So he's gotten a lot of press. I mean, he's appearing on our show. He never would have otherwise.
That's right.
Jesus.
He's really famous if he's on our show.
God. I mean, so from a PR move, like if you want to get to college bros, which is kind of where he's headed, then yep, absolutely the thing to have done. There are more thoughtful, that probably equally as funny, other places you could have sent them. Dial a prayer. I don't know. Right. But something that wasn't about
something
special
that didn't
needs.
Make fun of other people.
Yeah. Turn it to a sex website.
Something
right?
that didn't kick down, or what's the word?
Punch down. Yes.
Punch down. So he's totally punching down here. And his comedy seems to be punching down a lot. So I think he should start punching up.
Thank you. Yes. I think that's the mistake that's being made that I never would have articulated quite so well. Right.
Thank you.
And what's surprising is that I'm a man.
That's right.
God,
You're supposed to be the better
you're
one.
really flipping the tables here, lady.
So let's talk about the. So we did talk a little bit about the apology, which was sort of not an apology. So let's rate the apology, and this is going to be easy because there really wasn't one. It was a fake apology, and he mocked the idea that there even should be a real apology. So I'm going to rate this quote apology a -15.
Wow. Okay, so that is legitimately the oldest? Sure. No, the lowest high. The letters is kind of the same. Well, you did a -7,000 for somebody that I don't remember.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, this I could tell is actually how you really feel about it. And fair enough. And so I'm divided, right?
Oh,
so
okay.
as an apology, it is a 0 for sure. Would I go into negative with it? I mean, I could. Yeah, why not? I could do anything I want. I can do -7,000 for me. No,
Sure.
but a 0, right? However, for a comedian, I have to say, if this is the character that you're building for yourself, Matt, and this is the image you want to project, and these are the people that you want to appear at your shows, right? And maybe this is America. I don't know. Maybe he'll be more popular for this, right? It is an 8. Because he didn't apologize. And again, I feel that's the mistake that Kathy Griffin made. She gave her naysayers too much power when she said, "You're right, and I'm sorry," right? And her apology is saying, "You're right," right? So here, so as I mentioned, I was listening to a show called Canceled. I had a rude thing to say about somebody making up words when they're talking. I can't even remember what I'm talking about when I'm talking, so shame on me. But so he says on the show, and I'll just read the whole thing. It's not long. So Matt says, it's like the Me Too movement and all of that. Like, as a society, we're saying, okay, these things are not going to be acceptable anymore. This is like a new set of societal rules. And we know not to do that now. Like, the rest of the world was like, cool, now we know that we can move the fuck on. But people keep trying to cancel people every single day. And, sorry, he's talking. And so it's kind of hard to read this because grammatically things it's a casual conversation, right? So he says that piece, and then he said, oh, okay, great. And then he says, in regards to all the cancellation of people getting offended over every little thing, they're just like all over it, whatever the issue is that they're angry about, and it waters it down. And when he says what he's meaning is it waters down the reality of people who are actually victims of sexual harassment. Okay, let's see. So the overreaction basically waters down the reality that people face in regards to whatever the issue is, right? And he says, it's so unfortunate. People do deserve to face consequences for a lot of the really fucked up actions, but that all gets completely pushed to the wayside because somebody gets offended over a joke. And it's like you're giving the exact same punishment to somebody who was physically abusive as you are to somebody who's just telling a joke. It's the same consequences. How is that fair? Question mark, right? Then he says, so long as you never apologize, you'll never have to feel like, oh, I would never apologize. And you get to say whatever you want, but no, absolutely no, you can't. All right, so none of that bit of word salad is making any sense. But then this was the piece that I thought was very indicative and intelligent, right? Mm-hmm. If you give them a little wiggle room, they'll expect you to apologize for everything. I'm like, and how privileged are you that you think you never have to hear anything that you don't like in your entire life? That's fucking insane when someone's intention is just to make you go, ha, 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 like the most pure, joyful feeling you can have, and you don't like it. Well, move on. So, yeah, we'll say like there is some thought going into what he is doing. He realizes not everyone is going to like his humor. Great. And if he was super lefty, inclusive, right, doing all the things that I might find funny, there are people out there who wouldn't like it and he wouldn't care. So in that same way that I would have given Kathy Griffin an 8 if instead of apologizing, she had held up, 2 Donald Trump heads, right? I have to give Matt that same leeway and say, when one of my comedy heroes is the thing, and I say, but you do the thing that I would have said she should have done, okay, it's an 8. So on my world now, he's averaging out to a 4. So not an apology, it's a total 0. PR move, it's a good solid 8, right? However, Matt, honey, sweetie, baby, darling, you got to think about your career. You got to think about the long term of it, right? And maybe if you're starting off with the college frat bros, you're going to evolve and grow. But,
he's going to get a reputation.
Yeah, it's going to follow you. So think a little more about who you want to be, right? Who you want at your shows, right? And I get that you don't want a lot of women there waiting to be roasted and flirt with you. But at the same time, money's money. They get the same money as anybody else. So,
I mean, the whole idea that women are less desirable as audience members just rubs me the wrong way for obvious reasons.
Same.
Yeah. So I don't like him, and I also take offense at the idea that an apology that isn't an apology could ever be rated an 8. But I understand what you're getting at, so I'll let you have this one.
Okay, thank you. Because he is also getting a 0 for the apology, but just for the PR move, right? And it would be like if I don't want to take it that far and say a Nazi, but I will, right? So if a Nazi did a thing, I might be like, okay, that's terrible, but in Nazi world, sure, you hit it out of the park, right? Too extreme an example, not useful, should not have a microphone in front of me right now, should not be thinking out loud, all those things. So, hey, look over there. Wow, it's so shiny.
Speaking of looking over there, who's sorry now?
I'm going to tell you sorry now because speaking of podcasts and talking, so my husband James is sorry now, and here's why. Yes. Okay. We went to a small party on Friday night. We dragged Allison. We're like, our friends are having a small party. Come. It was very fun. It was very sweet. It was very nice. And while we were there, one of the people, and I'll keep this vague, right, has a TikTok account that she does for her dog. So her dog has a TikTok account and is a TikTok star. So she was telling the story about how shocked they were that Snoop Dogg followed them. Right? Because their last video got 36 million views.
Wow.
Now, the whole reason the lady was talking about TikTok was not because, oh, wow, I'm so famous.
I have 36 million views. Yeah.
It's because James said, Theo has a podcast.
And
he's
so funny.
She was talking oh, wow, that's great. I have this TikTok account I do for my dog, and this is what we do, blah, blah, blah. And gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. We had 36 million views on our last video, and Snoop Dogg followed us. And what do you do with that? And I said, I don't know. We have 54 followers. I should not even be talking to you. We are not in the same universe. What funny. We do is not a show. It is. Really, we just found these microphones laying in the street, and we're like, what are you doing? Nothing? So,
totally. It's just our way to keep up with each other.
Yeah.
So it's not really, we certainly don't have 56 million views. That's amazing. I think I might have seen something about a woman who was followed by Snoop Dogg and now has a ton of views. So I'll have to go back and look and see
I will tell you that she was very gracious and she just smiled at me and then she turned away. No, she did not. She kept talking. There were only 4 people at the party. No. Yeah. So that is who is sorry now. Somebody needs to quit publicly announcing that my only reason to exist is that I have a podcast.
It's my only reason to exist for real, because I don't even have a job. So, all right.
All right. So what about you? Apology expected? Who's sorry now?
Apology expected. And it's Craig Elliott of Orange County, California. And this is not funny, so it seems kind of weird coming off of a funny story. But he was out jogging with his two dogs. He's 68 years old. And he came across this guy sleeping on the sidewalk. He tried to wake him up he had a cart, and the guy running had a cart for some reason, like some sort of push cart. He tried to wake up the guy by shoving his push cart into him, and the guy yelled at him and was like, "Leave me alone, I'm sleeping here." And then the jogger pulled out a gun and shot the homeless man 3 times.
Oh my.
And he filmed the whole thing. So the homeless man died, unfortunately, and I'm just flabbergasted by the whole thing. I do expect an apology when the guy goes to court. I'm sure he'll apologize to the family and everyone else. But this whole thing with guns is just getting out of hand. It's already been out of hand for some time, but I think we need to do something about it, Theo. What can our podcast do about the gun problem?
Well, somebody's going to need to apologize for it, which is not going to happen.
Yeah. The whole right wing is going to need to apologize. So,
and where did this happen? I'm sorry again, but
Orange County. It happened near Anaheim, like a mile from the Disney.
It's the filming of it that clearly the person with the gun has some form of mental illness.
Right.
Something's fucked up there.
He thought that he was in the right, that it was okay to be just pulling out a gun and shooting people for no reason. Crazy.
Oh, God. And you're totally right. He will be the first person. He'll be crying in court. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. La, la, la. Just awful. Just awful. Which reminds me, I was going to say, and the good he gets what he deserves. He should go to Of course he should go to jail for that, right?
Of course he will go to jail.
Derek Chauvin, the officer who murdered George Floyd, was stabbed in prison. And apparently... It happened over the course of 8 minutes, and everybody just stood around and watched.
Wow.
And I divided on that, right? Because on one hand...
Shouldn't be stabbing people.
Hey, am I sad for you? No.
Right.
Should it have happened to you? Equally no.
Right.
So I'm not glad that it happened.
Yeah.
But also, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and that doesn't make me feel good or proud of myself at all. And so likewise for the guy that shot the homeless guy, it's kind of like, all right, you deserve to go to jail and fuck you. But also...
Yep. So I'll be looking out for the story, and when he apologizes, I'll let everyone know. So in 6 years, when it comes to trial, finally...
and we'll be able to cure the issues around homelessness in our society and guns in one podcast.
Before then.
Because whenever we cover it, like Matt Rife is now going to be so lefty, all-inclusive, progressive. And maybe he will. Maybe this air quotes around backlash. I don't know. I think it's going to drive him further into the arms of MAGA, but we could hope.
Probably. Probably. Well, when he grows up, maybe he'll have more sense.
Exactly.
We'll see.
Or when it glows down. Can you glow down? Can you just get uglier?
You can dim down, maybe.
Well, I mean, yes, you do. Hi, Theo. It's called age. Yeah, society will tell you that you're completely done when
That's true.
When that hits you.
On that happy note.
Nothing but Christmas.
Nothing but Christmas. I'm so excited about Christmas. we'll probably bring this up again on the podcast later, but Brent and I, our 20th wedding anniversary is on the 20th, actually, of December, and we're going, I think I may have mentioned it last week, actually, we're going to stay in the Fairmont overnight for a couple nights around the anniversary and go out to dinner.
The Fairmont in San Francisco, because there's more than one.
Yeah, in San Francisco.
You're so biased. It's only San Francisco.
Right. Yeah. So I'm totally looking forward to that because they have a big gingerbread house, which is like 2 stories tall, and a big Christmas tree, and it's just going to be Christmas, Christmas, Christmas.
Is that the place that has the tiki lounge in the basement?
Yeah, you were there once. I visited you once when you were there for work.
Yeah, that was fucking insane.
With the rain and everything, yeah.
And the boat in the basement, like on a lake?
I know.
How?
It used to be the pool for the hotel.
Oh, that's how.
Everyone everyone should go there. If they come to San Francisco, everyone should go to the Tiki. I think it's the Tiki Lounge.
You have to see that show. It is fucking
for food
insane.
And a little show and some drinks, and then go somewhere else. So yeah.
Oh, that sounds excellent.
Thanks, everybody. We'll be back. Will we be back next week? I think we'll be back next week.
We'll be back next week. We may be back the week after that.
Story, and maybe back the week after that. And until then, stay cool, cucumbers, and don't trip potato chips.
The show is made possible by listeners like you. Shame on you, and thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Apologies Accepted, the podcast.
You can find links to the articles and the sources in the show notes.
To submit an apology or find out more, visit us at apologiesaccepted.net, where you can also find our merchandise.
We're on Twitter at Apologies Accepted.
And on Instagram at apologies.accepted.
You can support our important work at Patreon.com/Apologies Accepted.
And fuck Facebook.
Bye.
Bye.